everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm sure Kimalo in Abuja. Let's get through to it, everyone. Our countdown continues on towards the 2023 elections. Nigerians are anticipating the election in the 67 days to the very moment Nigerians will be able to elect their new leaders. And we are asking you to get your PVC. As INEC began this week, today, last week, giving out permanent voter cards, and that will run till sometimes next year, January. So seize the opportunity and be counted. Trouble for the Director General of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Organization and a former presidential advisor, Dr. Doyin Okupe. The Federal High Court today had found him guilty of receiving over 200 million naira cash from the former National Security Advisor, S.A. Colonel Sambo Dasuki, and also sentenced him to 2 years imprisonment. Justice Ijoma Ojukwu delivered the judgment, held that the action of Dr. Okupe, who is the first defendant in the suit filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the FCC, violated the Money Laundering Act, and it was found guilty on counts 34 to 59 of the charges. The court sentenced Dr. Okupe to 2 years in prison on count 34 with an option of a fine of 500,000 naira. The court also sentenced him to 2 years in prison on counts 35 to 59 with an option of fine of 500,000. The option of fine is to run consecutively or concurrently on each count, while the sentence is to run concurrently. The sentence to run from the day of delivering the judgment, which is today. The court noted that it refrains from making any custodial order, but the convict is the property of the state. The judge gave Dr. Okupe till 4:30 p.m. today before being taken into custody. We'll allow you to look at what transpired just after the court pronounced court ruled over his matter and the exchange between his lawyer outside of the courtroom.
Please don't harass him. He's a corporate person. But the people should calm down. I beg you in the name of God. Allow him to sort out himself. By 4:30, if he cannot sort out, then he can go on. Thank you.
Please, can we talk to you, please? 1 minute.
That is the scenario which played out outside of the courtroom earlier today. Well, the Presidential Campaign Organization of the Labour Party has been speaking about this event of today regarding his presidential spokesperson. The Labour Party, PCC, says his Director General has paid 13 million naira fine following his conviction by a Federal High Court. The head of the media of the PCC of the Labour Party says that the party who wants to uphold the rule of law, its official will obey court judgment promptly. The media officer, Mr. Duroni Fadi, also says that the appeal of the judgment is a personal decision of Dr. Okupe that the PCC cannot influence. All right. We'll take a breather. Well, not a breather. We'll show you some stories that are of interest to you in the political scene. And when we come back, we'll be talking about the state of the race. Who is in, who is out? In the permutations that you have been hearing, who do you think is ahead? Because they say we have about 67 days to the election. A day, they say, is a long time in politics. So within the last few days, what has really happened? Now, you are hearing that there are threats on the 2023 election. Mr. Femi Falana has raised a very big alarm, sounding it loud and clear that there are undemocratic forces who are willing to sabotage this election. We'll be hearing and having conversation on that. Stay with me, everyone. But first, let's check out some of the political roundup stories.
The governorship candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party (NNPP) in Katsina State, Mr. Nura Khalil, is assuring citizens of the state that his administration will introduce development and empowerment program aimed at empowering at least 34,000 women across the state. Mr. Khalil disclosed this while receiving women support groups at his campaign office in the state capital.
I have quite a lot in terms of empowerment and also introducing a health welfare scheme.
As part of efforts to wrestle power from the ruling All Progressives Congress in Borno State, the People's Democratic Party in the state has launched house-to-house campaign with the aim to mobilize grassroots support for all the candidates of the party in the forthcoming elections. The house-to-house campaign exercise will be carried out by 3,000 party loyalists and volunteers across the 27 local government areas and IDP camps in the state. And in the South-South region, all is now set for another round of electioneering campaigns by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Delta State, led by the governor of Delta State, Mr. Doyin Okupe. It will be recalled that the party recently concluded the ward-to-ward campaigns to enable the governorship candidate, Right Honorable Sharif Oborevore, and his running mate, Monde Onyeme, to explain the more agenda to the people at the grassroots. The Minister of Transportation, Mr. Muazu George, is asking Nigerians to put aside religious sentiments and embrace the ideals of joining brotherhood for nation building by voting the presidential candidate of the APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in the 2023 general elections. He was speaking at the inauguration of the Taraba State Presidential Campaign Council for Tinubu and Shatima. Mr. George appeals to Nigerians to put aside their differences and work for the progress of the country.
Let us all come together as one. Let us sheath our swords. Let us put aside our differences. Therefore, as a progressive, join me to deliver Taraba State for Tinubu Shatima and the APC COM 2023.
Suspected hoodlums have reportedly attacked the convoy of the All Progressives Congress senatorial candidate for Kano Central, Mr. Abdusalam Zaura, leaving 17 persons injured. The incident occurred after the senatorial candidate went on a condolence visit at Gayawa village in Ngogo local government area. His convoy was attacked around Gadar Katako of Rimin Kebe, bordering Nasarawa and Ngogo local governments on their way back.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Today, INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, met with different stakeholders from different sectors that might be participating in the election: security, civil society, the media, and regulators. They met today and basically reining in on the need to have a peaceful election. Several issues were raised at that meeting in respect of the security and conduct of the exercise. Let me allow you to listen to the INEC chairman first and foremost. Then we'll also listen to some other people who participated in that exercise. Take a listen to the INEC chairman.
The concerted actions of citizens are crucial. Citizens must reject inducements to sway their votes through vote buying. They must also engage effectively in stopping the negative use of money in our electoral process generally, by reporting cases to INEC and other agencies. In addition, civil society organizations should make this a major plank of both their pre-election and election observation activities. Financial institutions, religious organizations, traditional institutions, the media, civic bodies, and above all, citizens must also join in this fight. Let me similarly reiterate the Commission's resolve to continue to employ both technology and administrative measures to strengthen Nigeria's electoral process. I assure Nigerians that preparation for the 2023 general election is on course, and we shall not be swayed from that course. Be assured that the beavers has come to stay. Electronic transmission of results has come to stay. Public display of polling unit results through IREV has come to stay. With today's initiative, the elimination of the negative use of money in our electoral process will be tackled head-on.
All right, that's the INEC chairman there. But let me allow you to also listen to the IPAC chairman and the Inspector General of Police.
Section 91(4) of the Act states that no registered political party in Nigeria, its aspirants or candidate should be prevented from holding rallies, processions, or meetings at any time for political purposes. Governors are, however, stopping opposition parties from campaigning by imposing prohibitive fees for access to campaign venues, placing of campaign posters, and the erection of billboards. This is happening in many states as I speak here. These undemocratic and illegal actions by elected state actors create a situation where use of money and incumbency factors are used to subvert the wishes of the electorate. Besides the dangers posed by the champions of ethnic and regional hegemonic agenda, the use of money to subvert the wish of the people is one area that all stakeholders and lovers of democracy, peace and stability of the country must rise up against.
A lot of arrests have been made, especially of persons buying voter registration cards as prelude to rigging the elections. Some political thugs have also been arrested and are being prosecuted in courts of competent jurisdiction. We will also ensure that the police squad, intelligence officers, and investigators are moved to the field to ensure that politicians who move on election days with tons of money or physical cash for vote buying are apprehended and dealt with within the confines of the law.
Well, that was the representative of the Inspector General of Police, AIG Balashi Roma, and the IPAC chairman speaking at that event. The issues of vote buying, the threat of those who are making sure that this election will not hold. And this is perhaps what the human rights lawyer Femi Falana has been talking about. Today, he's called on security agencies to apprehend those he claimed are anti-democratic forces bent on truncating the 2023 election. Mr. Falana has raised an alarm on today and based his argument on the series of attacks on the facilities of INEC. And listen to what Mr. Falana says. He says, unless the security forces are prepared to deal with the anti-democratic forces that are currently disrupting the democratic process, the 2023 general elections may be sabotaged to the detriment of democracy and political stability of the country. He's giving several reasons. He's even saying that about 40 places in Nigeria, elections might not hold because of security situation. He said, from what he gathered, about 40 local government areas in different parts of the country, which are firmly under the control of various armed gangs, including bandits, terrorists, and known and unknown gunmen that may hinder the election being held in that region. Let's get talking about this, everyone. Some of these issues. Yesterday, we spoke to INEC. INEC was telling us and giving some facts on what has happened. Over the last four years, we're seeing almost 50 incidents attacking of INEC facilities. I'm being joined tonight on the program here in our Abuja studio by two gentlemen. Both of them were brothers in the same party, but of course tonight they are no longer in the same party. They are from different political parties. Daniel Bwala, a lawyer and one of the spokespersons of the PDP Presidential Campaign Organization. Thank you so much, Mr. Bwala, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And Mr. Yolowo is a political economist and a member of the APC. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
It's worrying, isn't it, that we are hearing today, as Mr. Falana will say, that said that there are possibility that this election is going to be sabotaged. Based on the activities of undemocratic forces. That's how he described it. Do you have the same fear?
Yes. Thank you for having me, and good evening to your viewers. We hold the same view. As a matter of fact, when the local and international election observers called on the political party to come and express their expectations of them, I spoke on behalf of our party, and I think Festus Keyamo spoke on behalf of the APC shortly after mine. And we express this fear. But to whom lies the responsibility of ensuring that is a free and fair election? Is the governing party. The governing party is the party in power. The governing party is the party that, by virtue of the provision of Section 5 which is represented by the president, execute the provisions of the Constitution. And that includes the role of the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. I have absolute confidence in President Buhari's determination to ensure that he leaves a legacy of free and fair election. The fear I have is that President Buhari is a person, the presidency is an institution, but his party is the association that the premise upon which the president acts. On our own part, as People's Democratic Party, when we look at our pattern, right, we have seen insecurity in virtually every part of the country. Yes, we cannot say all the insecurity situation in the country should be attributed to one party or the other. However, we are increasingly worried by the fact that when you are a governing party, it behoves of you the responsibility of ensuring that you play according to the book and you ensure that the elections are done in a manner, or the processes leading to the election are conducted in a manner that suggests that you are not intimidating and you are not trampling on the right of people. So, for example, when we started out our campaign in Kaduna, we saw how unknown forces came and wanted to destabilize. We have seen that in Borno State. Even when the Commissioner of Police was saying nothing happened, the IG overruled him and said, in fact, there was a violent situation. We have seen also, for example, even in Rivers, some of the members of our party were manhandled. Somebody can argue that in Rivers it might be something within, amongst members of the party. But I agree with Falana, quite frankly, that unless the law enforcement and the security, you remember the Chief of Defense Staff not long ago said that there is an increasing pressure for them to compromise the election. That was a few days after the president himself tasked the National Security Advisor as well as the Inspector General of Police to read the Riots Act to everybody. So it behoves on the president, whom I believe is determined, but he has to look beyond just the office of the president to the party and ensure that we do not see some of these things, because we have seen a video circulating, as I drove, we have seen a video circulating where the candidate of All Progressives Party, while addressing whether the caucus or inner meeting, whatever, made statements that are quite threatening, when he said, political powers are not served like a la carte. You have to rise, you have to fight it, and he used the word at all costs, grab it and run with it. That to us is undemocratic. And these are some of the things that people take as lead and they go to the street. I don't have a problem with the Asiwaju family. I mean, I relate with all of them very well. But this is politics. When it comes to the fact that confront the lives of the people, ball players are supposed to be an example. No wonder when the signing of the Peace Park happened, it was not in the country.
So you blame the APC?
I blame the APC by not condemning acts that are being perpetuated in the states governed by them, who suggest the bullying of opposition political party, not just PDP, even Labour have suffered in some places. I believe that apart from the president, the party and the platform on which the president stands as the president of the country should do more by not inflaming some of these threat and intimidating strategy.
Let me allow Mr. Yalo to weigh in. Some question I asked. Do you share the same fear that Mr. Falana has, that 2023 election might be jeopardized by undemocratic forces?
Well, I don't understand what he meant, because I know he's always an alarmist and he's always saying things that are not real. However, some of the irresponsible statements being bandied about are things that I'm worried about. I mean, somebody blaming the APC for problems that happened in Rivers State and in other places. Meanwhile, the candidate of the PDP went to Kaduna and he was saying you don't need a Southerner, you don't need a Yoruba man, you don't need a Igbo man, telling them clearly that this has to be done in an ethnic manner, that we have to fight using religion and ethnicity. It's captured there on video. So coming here to now blame the APC is quite frankly not a wise thing to do, because while the other ones are either dropping fake statistics or the other one is being helped around, he can't even walk on his own, and even their wives are saying they should vote for our party, our own candidate has been doing the job of a candidate who wants to win an election freely and fairly. As I speak today, he just concluded a meeting with the labor union and the labor union just today. And if you remember, just yesterday, he was in Lagos at the burial ceremony of one of our brothers and our leaders, the immediate past Nigerian ambassador to Spain. That is a man who is not resting on his horse, he's not resting on his laurels, he's working hard to win an election. Unlike people who sit down, every day they are looking for an excuse, because they know they will fail, they will not win the election. How for heaven can you say you want to take the president away, then you blame the party? Does the party control anything? Does the party control the military? Does the party control the police? Does the party control the security and civil defense? I mean, some things we say, we need to think through them. I mean, the president has given all indications that he wants a free and fair election. If people continue to go and push ethnic agenda, push religious agenda, and inflame passion, and then we are seeing this, then who is to be blamed? I mean, we have seen the candidate of Labour, for instance, he has gone on record to say, for instance, that he doesn't think IPOB is a terrorist organization. He has defended them at several fora. But we saw just last week, APC members were murdered in cold blood in Enugu. The videos are there, and the people that were even recording the videos were shouting, APC, these are the things we've been suffering through as a party. The fact that we don't make politics out of it doesn't mean people should irresponsibly blame us for things that we have been victims of. In fact, in some part in the Southeast now, to go as an APC member is almost like a suicide mission. That video is there, it's gory. I'm sure you don't want to look at it yourself. I'm sure you saw it. It was there, 2 vehicles, women, children burnt to death, killed, hacked like animals, simply because they profess to support the APC. So how on earth can anyone now blame the APC for what other people are doing to us and against us?
I mean, are you able to react to what Mr. Buhala said?
Which one?
That your candidate did not sign the peace accord.
Oh, that issue. We actually have a reason, and you remember the the vice presidential candidate of our party was there to represent him. Our candidate was already on his way out of the country when the invitation was extended to him. So there was no way he would have stopped his journey to sign a peace accord. However, his vice signed for him, so I don't understand what he's talking about. I don't understand.
So, but there are
times when you invite the owner of channels, Mr. John Momo, he doesn't have to necessarily go. Somebody who is very senior here can represent him, and you will say, Mr. John Momo was here represented by X, Y, and Z. So let us stop making an issue out of no issue. My candidate was informed of that accord at a very late hour when he already had a flight to another country. So as at that time, the VP candidate, running mate, had to start standing for him, and we were represented.
So the question that perhaps that could have generated is whether or not there is a commitment of your candidate
100%
to a peaceful conduct of the election.
I mean, an election that we are sure we're going to win. Why wouldn't we want peace?
So are you able also to react to what he said in respect of the video that have gone viral?
But I mean, this is just a manner of English. If people decided to misunderstand and deliberately twist, I'm not here to defend that. The candidate said power is not a la carte. You must fight for it. How does it mean fight for it? Fight for it means go to every nook and cranny. Say what you need to say, the right things, push the right buttons, speak with people, and that is what he has been doing. So for someone to now deliberately, I mean, English is a very simple language that we all can deliberately misrepresent and misdirect if we want to. So I am not here to come and help people correct English if they deliberately want to misrepresent simple facts.
So some of the issues that were raised also at the meeting with INEC and the stakeholders is the issue of vote buying.
Right.
And we had a conversation yesterday with Senator Bukuchua, who said the policy of the CBN had a tendency to be political in nature because of the timing. Senator Seriaki Dixon also have the same view that the CBN policy seems to be a policy that has been tainted or seen to be political in nature. And when you hear those stakeholders talking about vote buying, what comes to your mind as a player within the political scene, especially because you are in the opposition?
You know, I have even heard that, you know, words in the street that there is every possibility that the redesign of the Naira, since the CBN governor is a documented member of the governing party, in fact, he wanted to run for presidency, that the money could have been made available for the governing party long before it is made available to the public. But I am not in that position where I put a stronghold on something that cannot be substantiated. But let me tell you something. I wish that the video of what Asiwaju said is played to the Nigerian people so you can hear what he said, the tone of his voice, and the choice of word when he said at all cost. I know we probably don't know English, but we know what at all cost means. And sometimes when you see somebody talking, you will be able to understand the emphasis and the strength given to that. That's number one. Number two, this crisis we're talking about that is being perpetuated in different parts of the country are mostly in states governed by the All Progressives Congress. I cited an example to you. I'm a realist. I cited an example of Borno, of Kaduna, and places like that. And I need to say, and that is not to in any way suggest or defend what happened in the East. Long before now, in the East, the IPOB activities, they've been murdering people across board, not necessarily any member of any political party. But we condemn in the strongest time if it is done to the members of All Progressives Congress. However, the point I'm saying, and it bears repeating, when he said, why am I extricating the president from the party? It's because they extricated the president from the party even in their manifesto. They tried to give the impression that, Asiwaju has said it even in London, when he was asked a question about continuity, he said, I am President Buhari is President Buhari, I am Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So if you separate him from your party and your candidacy, it's important for us to state that President Buhari meant well. He wants to leave a legacy, and Joe Biden even said it, he wants to leave a legacy. However, if what we are saying is a mere conjecture, the point I want to ask, and that will raise the case, why is it that it is the president who called the National Security Advisor and the Inspector General of Police and asked them to address the nation and promise that they will ensure that members of other political parties are not dealt with in states governed by the party? It's a fact in the news.
You want me to respond?
Absolutely.
This is no longer funny. I actually thought it was a joke, but this is becoming a very serious, debilitating matter. I mean, when Asiwaju said, I am Asiwaju, it was a clear issue. That is not to say Asiwaju is the APC. If Buhari is Buhari, Asiwaju is Asiwaju, they are not the same. They are two different individuals. So how does that mean we are extricating him from the party? I mean, for heaven's sake, let's not take politics to this point. Honestly, it is saddening, it is painful to see this kind of dropping from the sky because you are doing opposition politics. The question that was asked him then was about continuity. And I mean, was a specific question on continuity. And he said, yes, they're two different individuals. But if you remember, the follow-up was that everything the Buhari administration has done, it will build on the strong legacy. And wherever there are mistakes, it will be corrected. That is not an extrication. It's a case of, yes, we are two different people. We may do things in different ways. But wherever he got it right, we will continue. And wherever he did not get it too right, it can be corrected. And that is normal. So how is that extrication? So for heaven's sake, APC is not in power in terms of, it's not the presidency. APC is in power as a party, but the president is the one who makes decisions. So for you to say the president is saying the army, the police must promise Nigerians, it means the party that puts him there, under which banner he is sitting there, is committed to a free and fair election. And you will see that by the signing into law of the former, what you will call the electoral, whatever it was, that was corrected so that we can have a much more fair election, so that Nigerians will have a transparent system that works. So if you say the APC...
So you said in the beginning that you do not believe in what Mr. Falana has said. You think that he's...
No, he's always crying. He's always
but on this point, you don't think that is any
there are issues. There will always be issues. There will always be issues. See, there is no country in this world that does not have issues they are dealing with. The fact that there are issues is not enough to... I mean, he said 40...
about 40 local government areas.
Can he list these 40 local government? For heaven's sake, let's stop overheating the polity. There are challenges. But even the Birnin Gwari that is the hottest in Kaduna State, our candidate went there in the night last week, drove there by road and came out. It tells you that we are determined to go to any length, no matter what it takes, to make sure that there is peace.
We're due for a break, but I would like Mr. Bola to respond quickly.
It really speaks volumes when Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu went by night in the terrain that is considered as the hotbed in the Northwest. And for people who know, it speaks volumes that he not only went in the daytime, but he went at night. The same place where Governor Rufai said that was where the bandits were camping and they wanted to take over Kaduna. It speaks volumes. Let's go on break. We'll come back.
All right. We'll take a break, everyone. But when we come back, we will have the vice presidential candidate of the NNPP. But some other conversation in relation to what happened today. The APC presidential campaign today, plus the candidate met with Labour Party, Labour leaders and other stakeholders. And it's interesting that some of the leaders of the Labour that you saw with the Labour Party are with the APC today. We'll listen to what really happened there, plus other conversation related to these elections. Stay with me, everyone. We'll be right back.
With this squad app, I think my customers will understand that it's my own POS. No wuru-wuru, no waka-waka.
Earlier on, we've been speaking with Mr. Daniel Buwala, who is a spokesperson of the PDP, and Mr. Ayo Oyalo, a chieftain of the APC. The story we were telling you about earlier about the conviction of the Director General of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Organization, a former spokesperson, Dr. Doyin Okupe. We can also tell you that exclusively information to China's television that there might be a replacement for the role of the DG of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Organization as a candidate, might be making an announcement sometimes later. And there is no decision just yet about who the next DG will be, but there are possibilities that Dr. Okupe might be replaced, and that replacement might come any moment from today. We'll come back to my very good friends here in our Abuja studio, but let's hop quickly to Lagos, where the vice presidential candidate of the NNPP, Bishop Isaac Idahosa, is standing by to speak to us. Thank you so much, Bishop, for joining us tonight. How is your campaign going?
Sure, thank you so very much. It's been very tedious, but then it's worth it. Well, like I did mention the other time that lines are falling onto us in pleasant places. So the campaigning has been going on, opening offices, but now we're going full swing. You know, like I did say, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And so far, so good.
Oh, great. So let's pick this up from the early stages of this campaign. It does look to me that the permutations from politicians are being that your candidate or your political party will be a swing option in the mix, and that possibly throw spanner in the works for the potentials of some other political parties regarded as the big political parties. But as the time have gone now, and the moment where we are in at the moment, what has panned out? What are you saying now? The possibility of a merger or talks with other political parties, has that grown to the point of a bigger consideration?
Well, you know, Sean, we are putting in our best foot forward and moving. I don't know what you call the bigger political parties. We are a party to be reckoned with. Like I did mention that we are in it to win it. And we've got just a few weeks to the elections. And with what we have seen, our input so far so good, we are not going to have what we even call the runoff by the standards of INEC. Is going to be a clear win for NNPP come 25th of February 2023.
So if you're looking at a win, because I know that every time you speak to your congregation and you tell them information relating on fact and theology. But let's speak about the science of politics. Give us an understanding of where this win will come from. Which of the states are you looking to consolidate? Apart from the state where you come from, or the state where your candidate, your principal, the presidential candidate comes from, where are the guaranteed states that you can speak of right now?
We don't count our chicken before they are hatched. But I do say, and I'll keep on saying, that the electorate determine the swing. And with what we have, the input so far, we are going to have what INEC requires for us to win, like you know. And our strength has been decentralized to different states of the federation. And over time, what I mean over time now, and now is the time where people will begin to reckon with NNPP. You can see a whole lot of things happen in the campaign. Why? Because our message is simple. The rebirth of a new Nigeria requires not just rhetorics, but courage, transparency, accountability, one who means well, one who not just have had an antecedent, ready to replicate same, man of the mercies, with compassion. That's what we are bringing to the table, and that's what we are selling to the people, and they are embracing it in mass, in their thousands of hundreds.
That's interesting, and that's a good signal, isn't it? But I'm one person that is not usually swayed by the crowd that I see, because I know crowd are not exactly the same thing with votes. What empirical, scientific facts do you have to push the point you've made that gives your party the leverage you're talking about tonight, or the potentiality of winning the election?
You see, strategy is stronger than strength. And we don't come on air to begin to, because I've found a couple of times people even come after we have brought about our blueprint, trying to pick one or two things from there. We, like I did say, a surprise is going to be sprung up, and that surprise is already glaringly clear now that NNPP, we don't blab. We just go on ahead and appeal to those who will vote us into the next government, and we are receiving very great responses from them, and we are pushing.
The confidence that you're speaking of tonight is actually very instructive. And perhaps, I don't know what you and your principal are discussing. If you say you're winning, that probably will put to bed the conversation around the possibility of your party working with yet another political party. Because what we understand is that in the case of a possible runoff for this election, your party will be able to serve as a leverage to other political parties that might go for the runoff. But when you say you are winning this election, that probably might put it to bed. But give us an understanding of your own concern. Do you have any, in respect of those who think that this election is threatened by some elements who are described as undemocratic forces that are possibly going to sabotage or jeopardize this election?
I think the security architecture has come up with their game so strongly to curtail anyone that wants to derail the democratic process. Again, it is for other parties to want to align with NNPP, not us trying to. Merger is over, I do know you know that one. But those who deem it fit to join us, we are open. We are open to alignments and coming together to ensuring that we bring about a viable government. That is what we are up to doing where the windows are opened. But for NNPP, we are so much more out there to ensuring that we scuttle what people tend to talk about, rerun or overrun or whatever run with these. We have a clear-cut vision, and we are pursuing it with so much zest and passion, appealing to electorates. And everywhere we go to, the doors are open. The other time, we were at 4 southwestern states, and the ovation was high, and not just that, the grassroots impact. Because of our simple message, Nigeria will be better for it if you have not just one who just talks, but does the talk.
It's good to speak to you again, Bishop Idahosa. I know it's a busy time, and not only that, you are crossing the T's and dotting the I's in some areas of campaign, but also I know that you might be preparing your congregation also for the Christmas celebration. Thank you so much indeed, and it's good to see you. Let's also tell you, everyone, that Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Presidential Campaign Organization of the APC today had a meeting with some leaders of labor and some other civil rights organization in Abuja. Let me allow you to take to listen to what the APC presidential campaign candidate said at that event today in Abuja.
I have spent my political life advocating for the right and interests of ordinary Nigerians as you also do. We have been fellow travelers on the same road. I hope that we shall continue to be as friends and brothers. Our nation has experienced many trials, battles, independence, wars, democracy have all been fought for and won. It's fragile. Democracy is not easy to manage. The competitiveness, the insults, the abuse, the frustrations, but yet democracy is the best form of governance, accountability, and transparency.
That was an event we held today, and a speech of the presidential candidate of the APC when he met with some leaders of labor. It's interesting to see what is happening. I'm not sure that there was a commitment from the labor leaders, because I understand that there was a commitment with labor leaders and the Labour Party today, but interesting thing happened in politics.
I just want to take your attention to something. Did you hear what he said, that we fought for democracy and we won? And did you hear that when he was speaking?
Yeah, I think we all heard that.
When he said we fought, does it look like a violent fight, like he's saying? He was one of the arrowheads of Nadeco then. So when he used the word fight, I don't know why my friend and brother here is linking it to something violent. When we talk about fight in democracy, it's about your ability to convince people, to make people see what is right from what is wrong. When he fought for democracy then, he didn't carry a gun, he didn't shoot a bullet, he was not holding an arrow or a knife. He fought for democracy with intellect, with superior logic. So that was what he was saying in that video, that the PDP and all their people decided to misrepresent.
So let me tell you,
turn it into a battle of arrow and bow.
He fought for democracy, and now he's fighting democracy. I'm sure you see how they are unleashing mayhem on the free press, fighting journalists, because the journalist said you can even choose the television house of your choice, but produce the candidate and let him answer questions. So you fought for democracy and you are now fighting democracy. Secondly, you see, the word we fought for democracy in this context is perfect. What he said is we struggled. In that video, and Shewun, unless that video is played another day, let the Nigerian people judge for themselves. What he was inferring in that meeting, can somebody interpret what at all costs means? When he said it does not serve like an a la carte, you have to rise, you have to take it, you have to fight it, you grab it and run with it at all costs. And then we begin to see the effect in different parts of the country. Now, I said the best case against them is that the president admitted that there are crises and intimidation of the opposition in various states. And he asked the NSA and the IG of police to tell the Nigerian people they will not tolerate that. The president.
This is going to be an point where we anchor. Just remember, we need to anchor on this. Just about 30 seconds apiece. So, where do we go from here? We need to have a good election.
Correct.
But if these shares are going on, the commitment from the different political parties,
the
30 seconds,
and that is why you see our candidate all over the place. In fact, even the Labour is sitting with them. That tells you a man who wants to do the right thing, following the correct path. And when Daniel talked about fighting the press, I'm wondering what press. Is it because a local TV is trying to force something and we say we don't want to work with you, but we're going to work with other people? As I speak with you today, we don't go there to speak, but I'm here peacefully.
No, let him come.
He will come to channels when he's ready to come, not when you want him to come. Has the Atiku come to channels? Did they force him to come to channels? No. Atiku came to channels when he wanted to come to channels.
Baba, come to channels.
Don't worry,
or
Baba
even
will
go
come.
to TVC.
You don't have to beg him or force him. He will come to channels.
Let's
hear my 30 seconds. Quite frankly, we want a free press. We want democratic ideals. We want free and fair election. We don't want this threat to life and the killing of people. There will be an end to election, and then we'll go into governance. This thing is not by all means.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Please, could you shake hands? Because
Daniel is saying it's not as hard as that.
Elections.
He has to take me to Atiku's house to collect whatever makes it to speak for Atiku. I've told you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. And that's our show for today. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. God bless Nigeria.